What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sports Talk 101. And today we'll do some more PvP prediction videos. I am doing my best to, I won't be as much, I'm doing my best to get much of college football out there. There are tons of college football teams. I will do my best to get there. I will get to all NFL teams. Right now, there are a bunch of out there. There's a playlist called 2024, 2025 actually, college football playlist over on my YouTube channel. Go there. There's all the teams I've done so far should be in there, and now I'll add it to it. I'll get to many as I can. The season, I believe, starts week 0 right around August 25th, I think. Right around that time is when the season starts. So I'm trying to get much videos out there as much as I can before then. So just keep that in mind. But we'll get started today. We'll look at the SEC and take a look at the Tennessee Volunteers. Great season last year for Josh Heupel and company finally making the playoff. Did it with ACC. Now, this team last year was really good. Despite not making SEC and losing 2 games last year regular season, they make it the playoffs. This was a good team. This Tennessee team, what I saw last year was a really good job under Nico Malaria, quarterback. I believe now in the transfer portal, the whole signing and the whole NIL deal, which we'll address in this video. The whole Nico Olivia NIL deal. So we'll go break this down. So let's talk about it. So he comes into Tennessee, right? Back all the way back to Joel Milton, 2023. 2024, he, for his first year, was good. And he basically comes in, back over, becomes second quarterback in 2024, led them to a really good win over Iowa, and the Super Bowl comes again second year, in year 2, with Josh Heupel, and basically, essentially what we're trying to do, the whole thing with him, we'll get in a second. He was okay last year. He was a decent quarterback, not a Heisman level quarterback, but the whole NIL deal, he's not the only player. Okay, I've seen this throughout college football. NIL, look, this NIL situation, but players get hurt. I'm all for it, but it's also not perfect. When a lot of these coaches get frustrated too, is because it's not a perfect thing, and no, it will be. And we'll get a point. So basically, he had more than $200 million per year in NIL. So you know what? I'm done. He and Tennessee, just, you know what? I'm not going to deal. But through here and the transporter, and I'm transferred to USLA, which I will do. And this is the point of view, and see what will Tennessee do. Without Nico Olivia. Alright. Quarterback appeared last season in the to basically led Tennessee to the playoff last year, right? Led the playoff players, and then freshman first 10 as a full-time starter to 19 touchdowns, 5 seasons playing more than a position as a young quarterback, managing the offense with a potent run. Now it's got to USLA. We'll see how that goes for him, but that's the thing with Tennessee right now. The whole Nico Malaria now heading into 2025. Well, Tennessee, I don't know who's the quarterback yet. I don't know if Josh Heupel knows who their quarterback is next year, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. Tennessee, of course, recruits, so I won't be surprised if they get a quarterback of the portal. But here we go. They finished the season 11th overall and 30th in transfer ranking. Pretty good. This is a top 15, top 20 team, actually top 25 team in terms of recruiting. Tennessee, Josh Heupel does recruit well. He's a really good recruiter. As you can see here, he got a bunch of 5-star, but he does a good job. Any big names in this recruiting class? Not really. I mean, not that stands out to me. Yeah, I'm not familiar with recruiting. I do follow. I'm familiar with recruiting, but not follow essentially, which I should be. But eventually I will. Maybe that makes this channel a little interesting. But they do a good job of support. They got Colton Hood, the corner of Colorado. Josh Shell, defensive lineman of Grand Valley State. Let me make sure that's correct. See, Joey Aguilar, quarterback out of USA. So they get Joey Aguilar out of the quarterback out of the. This is the big name. I am gonna assume he's gonna be a starter next year. I don't know. We'll see what Josh Heupel does, and I don't know who's backup to Nico. Tennessee fans can comment down below to let me know. But I do know this. I do know that they got. I remember went to the portal to Tennessee, so we'll see who will be the starter next year. We'll see what happens in week 1. Simon Pelton from Notre Dame. Yeah, offensive lineman. Star Thomas, running back from Duke. Almay Jefferson, wide receiver from Alabama, and of course, Wendell Moore Jr., defensive lineman from Arizona. Coming off last year, the finishes 10-3, 6-2. It was a really good season. Won every single game, basically went 4-0 off by week. Go on the road, loses to Oxford, come back, beat Florida, beat Alabama, beat Kentucky, beat Mississippi State, then lose to Georgia on the road, which is an acceptable loss. The loss to Arkansas, I get it, it's back-to-back road games, in between with bye week in between. But then the last one, of course, Ohio State went to the national championship. That's a decent loss there. But that's the 2024 record. Pretty good season last year for the Tennessee. The latest odds, win total, according to DraftKings or FanDuel, whatever you look at, it's going to be 8.5. Can they go 8.5? I think this is a table. This team tends to, for Josh Heupel, tends to go 9+. This is a 9+, 10+ win team. So let's take a look at the schedule game by game, and then we'll give you a winner and a loser. So let's set this up. Here we go. There we go. Perfect. All right, they start the season off on neutral site game in Atlanta against Syracuse. Then they come home, first home game against ETSU. Then after that, so you play 2 non-con games. Then you got then you got a conference game in between 2 non-con. And I will put this out. This schedule is going to be very interesting. All right, they got Georgia. In between, you got East Tennessee State University. Then you got Georgia at home. They get UAB. They go on the road against Mississippi State. They have bye week, first bye week. Remember, I guess 2 bye weeks. Just with the kind of falls. Arkansas at home. On the road Alabama. Back-to-back road game at Alabama, at Kentucky. Come home against Oklahoma. Hand you bye week. Come off your bye week. You got to take on New Mexico State to finish your non-con situation. And then you got to go late homecoming, by the way. Late homecoming. Usually most hockey from the university, usually October, mid-October, usually around October, so I'm really surprised they have late there. And then you go on the road, Florida, and in between, and then have that first season at home against Vandy. This schedule is going to be tough. And I mean by that, you got Georgia sandwiched in between UTSA and UAB. They get Alabama and back-to-back road games. Then you got Florida in between New Mexico and Vandy. Look, Florida's not a great team, but I'm not mistaken, Tennessee has lost to Florida before on the road. And 2 years ago, they lost to Florida on the road. So this is going to be a SEC season for them. But I think here's the situation. Good news is you saw season 2 now. You beat Syracuse and you beat ETSU. Now you got to face up Georgia. And the good news is a home game, but it's a sandwich right in between 2 really good, really bad teams. It would be it is there's 2 good teams in UAB and Syracuse. Last year in the Common Core was a pretty decent team. UAB at times can be a good team. ETSU is usually not a good team, so that should be an easy win there. But you got Georgia right in between. Home game, conference game, really big game. Now Georgia has Tennessee number. Can Tennessee beat Georgia? I'm just waiting for the day it is, but for now, I think Kirby Smart's going to win against you. But the good news is you come back and you're going to bounce back with a big win against UAB, and then you go, hey, bye week for the 1 loss. That's good. Coming first bye week, you got a tough schedule stretch. You got Arkansas, back-to-back road game, and the Oklahoma game. The Alabama game is Sam Speed. You've gone on the road, beat Alabama before. I think you'll beat Arkansas. You'll get the win against Kentucky, and you'll get the win against Oklahoma. I think you go on the road and beat Alabama. I just think with the 1 loss, this team's, capable of going win the game. Sorry, Alabama fans. but you're gonna beat New Mexico State. I'm sorry, but you look. I love Florida in the sense that they're really a terrible team. Billy Napier has really losing seasons, but for some reason Tennessee cannot beat Florida. I think that continues today. Look, could you lose to Alabama and beat Florida? Absolutely. I surely believe this, and beat Vandy. So let's see here. So what's that? Over under. Let's see. Over under is 8.5. Bingo. You beat. I'm taking over. I think you'll win 9+ game. Actually, 10+ game. This is a 10-2, 11-1 capable of teams. Look, you can lose to Georgia and Alabama in the same year and beat Florida. But the reason why I'm losing to Florida is you lost to them before the road. You tend to lose to Florida on the road. I don't know why, but you do that, and then I think you lose to Georgia. You're not beating Georgia. I mean, look, could you go beat Georgia at home? Look, here's the thing. You could beat Georgia. It's early in the season, so we don't know what Georgia's going to be like in 2024, 25. But I do know this. I did do a Georgia schedule preview prediction. It should be uploaded to YouTube. And I'll look at schedule. Georgia, I believe, has two nobodies. You're basically going to be undefeated. Both of you going to be ranked and undefeated heading this game. It's going to be the biggest game. It's 3:30 game on ABC. It's going to be the really big game. This is the biggest game for Georgia and the biggest game for Tennessee. Why? Because Tennessee has not lost to Georgia. Has lost to Georgia every single year. They have not beaten Georgia. Now they've been Georgia before, but since Josh Heupel took over head coach, Georgia and Kirby Smart has Tennessee's number. I think the country continues. Look, you could go beat Georgia, beat Alabama, and lose to Florida. 11-1. Can Tennessee go undefeated with their schedule? Look, you either losing to Georgia or you're either splitting Alabama. Either going 0-2 against Georgia and Alabama and beat Florida, or you're splitting between Alabama and Georgia, yet beat Florida, or lose to Florida, lose to Georgia, but beat Alabama, which I have you doing right now. Because these are the three games. I want to look at the schedule. For some reason, this game, Florida game on the road, right between two terrible teams. Now, Vandy was great last year to Diego Pavia. I don't know if they can replicate that next year. I don't think so. I don't think they can. I have no idea. They had great success last year. I just don't know if Vandy can replicate what they did last year next year. Because it's very hard to do. We said it with TCU. They went on the playoffs. Fair. You saw, look, TCU. Great one last year. But that is 2 years ago. And they fall planet, right? We see it year in, year out. Teams like TCU, in this case Vandy, and Indiana, they're really successful season 1 year, but next year they cannot replicate because it's very hard to replicate. Now look at teams like Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, LSU, Clemson, even Oklahoma went under Lincoln Riley. They made the playoff year in, year out, and because this team is capable of making the playoff because these are capable teams, they can replicate that. Teams like Indiana, Vandy, TCU, they don't have the structure. So what do look Coach Nagy. Look, that recruiting, what he did recruiting in transfer portal, that's a miracle. Okay, that's the type of once in a while. Like you cannot rely on just a transfer portal. That's why recruiting is very, very, very important. So we'll see what Vandy or Tennessee does in 2025. But having them 10-2 losses to Florida and to Georgia, look, they could look. You could go. Look, all of these three games, you have two options. You have 2-1, 0-3. Going to 3-0 is unlikely. I think it's 1-2. You could go beat Florida and lose to Alabama. Could you lose to all three? Go 0-3? I've seen it happen. I've seen Tennessee lose Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, I believe, in the same season. I'm not even kidding. You have to go back a couple years. I think twice. Not once, but twice. I've seen Tennessee do that. So just put that in mind. That's it. Like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification button. I Sports Up. Want to sign out. See you next video. Peace.